Have you thought of me even once? I wanted to find a way to talk about people and experiences from my past without naming names, of course, and as it turns out, that's rather hard. Sometimes I question whether there's anyone that I used to know watching these videos and thinking, wow, maybe she wasn't just whatever I thought of her back then. Maybe she's something a little bit more. I don't know why I have this obsession with being someone or something that's a bit more, but I think it's because I want people from my past to think I could be someone special someday. But I'll save those specific people for later. But most people I used to know, like the people I went to secondary school with, wouldn't even have a clue of what my life is like now because, other than the odd Instagram post where they might see me with someone they would potentially recognise, at this stage they aren't going to find out. I mean, I suppose unless they were actively watching the Tubathon, but even then, would they have really known that was me, or put any of the pieces together? Most likely not anyway, which is something I find a bit sad. But it's also not necessarily something I want to share with all of those people. I mean, I've had maybe 2 or 3 messages from people about what I do now, and those people have said something nice and meaningful. They were always kind to me in school, so I suppose it's not really a surprise that they would be nice. I don't think there's particularly much to be horrible to me about over all of this. And as for the people in my past who weren't so nice to me about things similar to this, I am so insignificant to them now, not much less so than I was back then, but enough that they will have entirely forgotten me and forgotten their actions towards me. I will be so insignificant to them that they would probably see me post something and unfollow me, confused by how they ever even knew me in the first place. That I don't mind. I find myself wondering if the people I went to college with ever think of me and wonder what it is I've gone on to do. I'm always curious as to what they're doing, and I see the majority of them off at drama school, really buckling down, and I begin to think I'm grateful I didn't take that path, because I think I'm much happier now than I would have been had I done what they're doing. That sounds really backhanded, but trust me, it's not. I'm inspired by these people, and you can tell they really do love what they do. I just love what I do now, more than I would have loved drama school, I think. Although you never really do know what life would be like if things had played out differently. I used to make YouTube videos with a girl from my hometown. She taught me a lot about life, and I like to think that I still see little bits of her in me today. I see what she's doing now, and I'm always proud, and I'm always interested in what else she might be doing. She's always someone I've admired. And I doubt that she would even spend a minute thinking of me, because it's been so long, and I was probably fairly insignificant in her life in comparison to the influence of others, but while we had that friendship, I really cherished it, and I wonder if she did too. I wonder if she ever thinks of me and wonders what I might be doing. I'd like to think that if she saw me in the street, she would talk to me, and I think she probably would, because she's probably one of the sweetest people I've known, but I don't know if she might have sort of forgotten me now, or forgotten some of the times we spent together. Though not many, important to me, and she was there when I really wanted to experiment with fashion and find what sorts of makeup and clothes I liked. She was probably one of my first proper girly friends that didn't come from primary school, when none of us had a clue what we were doing when it came to clothes or makeup, and I really valued that. We still follow each other on Instagram and such, but we haven't spoken in years, but every time I see a post, I'm excited and glad to be able to see what she's moved on to and the happiness it brings her. I'd like to think that if I ever really posted on my Instagram, that she'd think the same, despite how easily we drifted. But I think it's harder to be asking the question, do they think of me, when it's about someone you ended on bad terms with? I used to be scared to talk about stuff like that for fear that those people would decide to come after me, but I think it's probably been enough time for us to all have grown up from that now, but there is still a part of me that's scared too, so I will keep this brief. There are people from my past that I used to find myself missing, and I don't have that feeling towards those same people anymore, but there are still times I find myself thinking of them, and I'm curious to know if they think of me too. There are people in everyone's past that have left scars, and I will never have not been changed by those people. There are plenty of people that have been in my life that I've ended friendships with on not the best of terms, and I'll hold my hands up and say that a lot of the time I am very much to blame for those things. But as I've gotten older, I've learned not to focus on what was whose fault, and I've learned not to miss most of those people who are no longer in my life. But some are harder to shake than others. Yet I don't doubt that I won't be waiting too much longer to stop thinking of them. or at least stop thinking of them so frequently.